Hi, we're still in January and it's Detox Month at Janice Woody's Lifetime Health. So far this month we've covered clearing out the head trash, cleaning out your colon, looking at what makes for great skin and why you need to protect your skin, and we've looked at the detox workout. So today was supposed to be about detox on the go because everybody is so busy and we always claim we never have enough time to take care of ourselves. But something came up in my running that made me remember there's also something that we need to do while we're on the go, but it's critical to everyday life, and that is your water. Without water, we wouldn't have life. Nice little glass of water from the tap, and it looks clean. Amazing what's in that. Unfortunately, about a year ago, a little over a year ago, we had heard a story out of Flint, Michigan, and everybody was totally alarmed to hear about what was in the water in Flint. The lead was primarily what was in the news, and they talked about how damaging that is to young children, and everybody felt horrible about it, and we saw the usual politicians dancing around and fighting over it. But what people fail to realize is Flint is not unusual. And I wrote a blog about a year ago, so you think your water is better than Flint's? Think again. Our municipal water supplies have been, I would say, detrimental to our health for quite some time. I feel particularly qualified to speak to this since way back long ago in my past life, I was a civil engineer and a construction manager and worked for one of the largest municipal water districts in the country. Now, Los Angeles Water and Power is not much different than Chicago, New York, or any of your small to medium-sized cities. Most of the cities in this country put a lot of toxic material in the drinking water. Why? I'm not going to get into that here because, frankly, I don't know all the details of why. I have my suspicions, but I can vouch for firsthand what went into the water supply in Los Angeles. The city embarked on a very extensive cement lining project because the pipes were corroded, and they have miles and miles of corroded pipe. We did this project because it was easier than replacing all the pipe. But you have to ask yourself, water, clean, fresh water is not corrosive. We need it to live. If it was corrosive, how could we live drinking this water? So if the pipes are corroding, what's going on in the pipes? What's in the water? Well, unfortunately, this toxic soup that was being delivered to your tap was full of a lot of chemicals. You name it. Fluoride being the most talked about one. But it's not actually fluoride. In many cases, it's hydrofluorosilicic acid. And this is a byproduct of industrial production that has been dumped in our water for years. It's not something we should be drinking, but it's not the only thing in there. We also shouldn't be drinking chlorine. We also shouldn't be drinking bromine. And, if you go back to or can remember your chemistry class, you'll remember that in the chart you had a whole list of things that fell under the halogens: fluoride, chlorine, bromine, iodine. Iodine is the only one that we absolutely need to survive, and amazingly all those other chemicals bind to iodine and they block iodine reception in your system. But the one thing about iodine is it will bind to those things and allow you to pass them out of your system. Fluoride attacks the pineal gland, and it also attacks the thyroid. Chlorine is something that attacks your mucus glands, and it's just, these things are horrifying, but this is what's in our water. So if you're drinking this stuff straight out of the tap, please stop. Get a good water filter, and it needs to be a filter that you know specifically is filtering out fluoride, chlorine, bromine, all of these toxic chemicals, as well as glyphosates and the myriad of prescription pharmaceuticals that are wound up in our water. None of that stuff was meant for us to drink in our water supply, but that's what's in there. And while you're at it, get a shower filter, because remember we talked about your skin being your largest organ, so whatever you're showering in is going into your system. So I would suggest it's worth the money to buy a good water filter so that you know what you're drinking. But if you're on the go, like I just recently came back from a trip, and I found myself sitting in the airport, doesn't matter what airport you're in, one of those places where the TSA confiscates your bottle of clean water and makes you feel like a criminal and forces you to go and buy a $4 bottle of basically tap water. Have you ever asked yourself what's in that bottled water you're buying? Most of us don't want to know because we think we don't have any options for how to deal with it. Back in 2012, Nestle was caught tapping into municipal water supplies for their bottled water. They're not the only ones doing that. So when you have to go in the airport and grab that bottle of water out of the newsstand, have a little bottle of iodine with you and put a few drops in there so that you at least have a chance of cleaning up the bottled water before you drink it. And that will give you Detox on the Go. Just remember, water is about life. And if you're not drinking clean water, you're not living the optimum life. So I hope you liked this, and I hope you will like it and share it with your friends. And for everything on wellness and graceful aging, please visit JaniceWoody.com or Janice Woody's Lifetime Health on Facebook.